Hi Ruth. Okay, let's have a look at your typed version. Right, so globalization has changed the lives of many people around the world. Okay, let me go into tracking so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, has changed the lives of many people around the world. Okay, education is not an exception to these changes. Okay, is attending university overseas for young people better than studying around their hometown? Okay, we need to rephrase that sentence. I would say the question many people ask, the question that is often asked, is whether it is better for students to attend university overseas rather than remain in their home country. Okay, so that is replacing this. Okay, in my view, there is a simple answer. The advantages outweigh the disadvantages. Okay, good. You've made your statement, you've taken your position. Okay, on the one hand, it is true that studying an undergraduate degree, not undergraduates, just undergraduate, or a master's degree, not only brings with it advantages, but also many disadvantages. Okay, that is a little bit unclear, because you're not the question that you're looking at, whether it is better to study overseas or at home. Here you're saying whether it's better to study an undergraduate degree or a master's degree. You need to be more clear. I know what you mean is that many people often go overseas to complete their masters. Okay, so you need to expand a little bit on that. Okay, not only brings with it, you need to say brings with it both advantages and disadvantages. Okay, watch your, I think that's just a typo. Okay, brings with it both advantages and disadvantages. Okay, brings with it both disadvantages and advantages. Okay, it's more succinct to say it like that than the way that you've written it there. Okay, for some, one of the drawbacks could be the language barrier. Okay, so again, you need to say or master's degree, you need to put in here overseas. So I think you've left out that point. Okay, for some, one of the drawbacks could be the language barrier, whilst for others, the difficulty of coping with higher education or tertiary education. I would say coping with the demands of higher education or tertiary education combined with living in a different culture. Okay, it seems as though there's something missing at the end of your sentence. For some, one of the drawbacks could be the language barrier, whilst for others, the difficulty lies in, okay, or lies in coping with the demands of higher education or tertiary education combined with living in a different culture. Okay. This higher education or tertiary education, okay, that's fine, right? Furthermore, the lack of support from one's friends or relatives when, for example, one experiences a particularly distressing or difficult day, may also contribute to the stress. Okay, may also contribute to the stress, and take out the plural there, okay, because it's singular. May also contribute to the stress. Okay, I don't know why this won't undo. May also contribute to the stress that young students experience. You've already put in may, so you don't need to put may twice, okay? Moreover, reckling. I wouldn't use that word. I would say maybe reckoning or wrestling with the high expectations or dealing with. So, not this word, I would use a different word. Okay, my suggestions are put in a few of the words that I suggest. Moreover, dealing with or wrestling with. Okay, so you choose one of the verbs. Okay, the high expectations set by the family to achieve, spelling of achieve, what one cannot could also add more stress. Okay, that's a very difficult sentence for the reader to get through. Moreover, wrestling with the high expectations often set by young learners' families, by the young learners' family. You can either use it, let's put it into plural, by the students' families. Okay, you don't need to say achieve because expectations means achievement, okay? Also, may also, and here's a nice word for you, exacerbate the pressure that the student is already under. You're often under stress, okay? However, perhaps one of the most stressful factors may be that one has, not you, but one, talking about people in general, be that one often has a student loan to repay, and if you do not perform well, it could take longer to pay the loan back. Not would, but could, okay? So, could take longer to pay the loan back. Alright, let's go to your next paragraph. On the other hand, experiencing living abroad while you are at university can often be an invaluable experience in terms of skills development. What do you mean by skills development? Skills is plural, so you don't need an apostrophe. This is not possession, okay? I think what I said in my recording, first of all, in terms of developing life skills. Developing life skills. Firstly, it enhances your prospects. Be careful to make a definitive statement to say, firstly, it significantly, it is probable that it would enhance your future career prospects. For example, I know several students who are studying overseas in Amsterdam, who 6 months prior to their return, had already secured full-time employment. Okay? And employment is without an E. Secondly, this situation could help teenagers to mature a lot more quickly and to learn to be more independent. In addition, being in a foreign country can lead to students getting to know students from other countries. Getting to know students from other countries and diverse backgrounds. Because even in a country like the United States, people's cultures vary throughout the country because it's such a big country. That scenario would be the beginning for setting up their contact network, which could prove to be useful. That scenario could be you don't have to repeat it, so you can say this could be the start of their professional contact network, which may prove to be useful, in their future careers. All things considered, it's a nice phrase, where there are advantages, there are also disadvantages. Besides, the drawbacks of studying abroad are mainly emotional issues, which one needs to learn to deal with. Due to my thought, I would rather say, in my opinion, the advantages, you could add in here, far outweigh the disadvantages, because the resulting benefits in the young person's life could not possibly occur if they studied at home. Could not possibly occur if they remained at home to study their tertiary. They remained at home to complete their tertiary studies. Okay. All right. I hope that helps. Ruth, be very careful about translating into English. I'm not too sure what your first language is, if it's Spanish or Portuguese, but things like employment and the F's and the V's. And I would also suggest that you get yourself a grammar book and do some exercises with your subject plural agreements. Okay. And another common error is the use of the apostrophe. Okay. All right. Well done. Good job.